meteorologist Chase Jones.
All right, the general consensus is that I talk way too fast. But the truth is, they only give me a little bit of time, and you guys have already incorporated me into your routine, so I really value that small amount of time that I really have to talk to you about what's going on, because it means so much that you guys would take time out of your day to listen to what I absolutely have to say about the weather. Watching some rain make its way in from the northwest, seeing a little bit of that flash flood advisory. Now, keeping my eye on the temperatures over the last 24 hours, I will try to slow it down as we slowly drop down into those lower 70s, making a good push up into those mid-90s underneath those clear skies. This morning I said rain. It did not show up, but it is on its way for a beautiful Friday night. But when you talk about running out of time, this is the last weekend of July. Jose, how much time do I have left? Only 2 minutes. All right. 96 in San Angelo. Everybody else in a combination of mid to lower 90s across the entire area. You know, I'm looking for 10 degrees all the time. 99 in Robert Lee, 96 down there in Junction, 90 over there in Sterling. So you see where the cooler weather is starting to make its way in. We'll see if it doesn't give up by the time it gets to San Angelo, at least part of the eastern side of the Concho Valley. Now, dew points are in those 50s and those 60s, while humidity indices are in those 30s across the entire area. So we know there's rain making its way in, but we know there's not a whole lot of sensors out here. In fact, I can only really count 2 between the West Texas Mesonet and National Weather Service. Now, keeping our eye on the Gulf Coast pretty much all week. Again, rounds of moisture are going to try to make their way through for the last weekend of July, but I think it's going to give up just shy of our area. You sort of see how it's making its way in right now. Very similar pattern throughout the rest of the weekend, but I have been talking to Stephen about it because the upper level pattern pretty dynamic. Now, we're watching a cutoff low just hover off the west coast. It was supposed to make its way in. Now we see strong ridging by next week before it becomes completely gone, and we're going to see some cooler temperatures make it way in with maybe more rain. Now, water vapor imagery showing you the circulation and the usual pattern in the afternoon as the sun just starts to push off all that convection, getting a better idea of those evaporative levels. But of course, our strong storm in the Gulf Coast just not organized enough to make its way into a bigger tropical, thank goodness. Now, severe weather outlook still following that check mark, but if not the upper level pattern, and we take you down to the surface to get a better idea of some of those alerts going on. Still seeing those high wind alerts for Utah and parts of Colorado, some severe weather in Oklahoma, and of course watching our flash flooding down here in the Concho Valley and along the Gulf Coast. Now we're going to continue to watch this activity all weekend long, especially for this Friday night. Take a good look at the radar right now. Tracking a little bit just north of Ozona and just west of San Angelo, but the Futurecast is going to show you how it will continue to make its way in by tonight and then slowly give up around 10:30 or so, around the cooling hours. Now from the southeast, we'll continue to see rounds of moisture making its way in with that storm around the Gulf Coast. Take a good look by Saturday afternoon. Right now, my model is showing up in the usual afternoon pattern, but just holding just shy of the Concho Valley, again around Midland. By Sunday, it's going to try to do it again, and we're going to see if the more moisture doesn't make its way in with a cloudier Sunday afternoon. But again, spotty showers are in the area. We'll see if that doesn't pop up with a little bit more of that high humidity for some quick downpours. But as we get closer towards the last week of July, I'm on the lookout for more rain. So tonight, all the way back down into those lower 70s. I'm keeping my eye out for more pockets of rain. Then tomorrow, a good run of those mid-90s, but it's going to be an excellent weekend. Get out there and enjoy yourself, but we're practicing water conservation as well as clear the shelter, and I think this might be the last week to clean up around it past some of that flooding. But as we get closer to the last week of July, I know everybody is ready for fall. We're going to see some of those warmer temperatures one more time before things drop all the way back down into those mid-90s with those overnight lows just staying in those lower 70s. Stay tuned. One more up at break. You're watching KSAN News at 5.